welcome back to the Craft Castle. My name is Ashley, and in real life, like I'm talking about sporting events and dinner parties and such like that, I do not have FOMO. I could care less if I miss the very next sporting event or a dinner party or even a party, anything like that. I could care less if I miss. However, when it comes to anything craft related, best believe that when something new comes out, I have to have it. I have FOMO. I want to know for myself if it is a good thing that just came out. I have to know. And today is just like any other day. So, backstory. Xtool, hello. I love my Xtool things. I have the Xtool M1 Ultra right here. I have the F1 and the F1 Ultra. I also have the P2, even their air filter. I have an S1 that's not seen right here. I have so many craft items that I just keep going and going and going. And the reason for that is every single time Xtool comes out with something new, I have to have it because I have FOMO when it comes to craft related items. So Xtool came out with a brand new Xtool P2s and I had to have it. So I currently am sitting on two boxes. One is the box for my Xtool P2, and then the other one on the bottom is the brand new Xtool P2s. Yeah, I am so lucky that I get to unbox the brand new Xtool P2s with you today. I can't wait to figure out what the brand new Xtool P2s has that the Xtool P2 doesn't have. Now I can tell you that the Xtool P2 is one of my favorite Xtool machines. It is my go-to machine. Now I do love my Xtool M1 Ultra. That M1 Ultra is the bee's knees because it is so many machines all in one. It's a printer, an inkjet printer, a laser printer, and also a Cricut all in one. So whenever I'm talking to new crafters and I say, if you're into crafting and you don't have a Cricut yet or a printer or anything else like that, definitely grab the M1 Ultra because that right there is going to give you the most bang for your buck. And it's going to be all in one machine. Space saving is amazing. Does a whole bunch. But the Xtool P2, because I love working with acrylic, I love making acrylic cake toppers and acrylic signs and stuff like that. The Xtool P2 is the reason why it is my go-to machine because I love cutting acrylic. No other machine in the Xtool family has the ability to cut all acrylics. We're talking clear, mirror, gold, translucent, any acrylic that you possibly want to cut. The Xtool P2 is the only one that Xtool offers of the machines that can cut acrylic. Well, I say that. The Xtool P2 and the P2S are the only two machines that can cut acrylic. So when Xtool came out with the P2S, I was like, yes, I want the P2S. Newer is obviously going to be better, right? So I've actually done a deep dive into the Xtool website and I have some really good comparisons about these two. We're going to get into that. First and foremost, what I need to do is I need to take my P2 off of my rolling cart and set up my P2S. So let's unbox this and we'll set it up. And while I'm busy setting it up, I will give you the rundowns of what the difference is between the two. Because maybe the differences will also encourage you to get the P2S versus the P2. Or even upgrade if you already have the P2. Are you ready to start unboxing this new machine? Let's go.
If you've never purchased a laser machine before, I strongly suggest keeping the box. The reason for that is if you ever have to do any type of warranty work with your Xtool laser, they probably will require you to send the machine back. And if you don't have your boxes, then you kind of aren't going to be able to send the machine back. That being said, also if you move, you're going to need to put your laser into the box just so it keeps it nice and safe. So I definitely suggest keeping the box. But the very first thing that I needed to do was pack up the original Xtool P2 so I could put the Xtool P2S on the riser base. If you already have the Xtool P2 and the riser base, the good thing is that you don't have to purchase another riser base because the Xtool P2S is the exact same size as the original Xtool P2. So because it's the exact same size, that means that you don't have to use a whole different riser base. All you have to do if you are upgrading is just upgrade your machine and not the riser base. I do love that. So if you've never owned an Xtool laser, the one thing that I do love about Xtools is they're very mindful about purchasing of items. A lot of their accessories, like the rotary accessory, can be used on every single one of their Xtool machines. You don't have to buy a whole new accessory if you decided to get a whole new machine. Also, the air filter that Xtool just came out with on the bottom left of your screen, you can use that for practically every single one of the Xtool laser machines, which I absolutely love. The fact that like all their accessories just can be used with every single one of their machines, limiting how much we have to purchase.
If you don't already own the P2 and you're looking to see whether or not you want the P2 or the P2S, you will need to put antifreeze into the tube. We'll get into that. But I would like to note here before you move forward is that you need purified drinking water. So I have a half a gallon left because I already had the P2. So I had purified drinking water on hand so I don't have to go to the grocery store and pick some up. But when you do your antifreeze for your tube, you do need purified water, which is different than any other type of water. I just want you to know. I had to Google that when I first got my P2. But this right here, we're gonna set aside. Now with every single one of the Xtool machines, they always come with a really good starter pack of material. And then they have safety instructions and a setup guide, but also a quick guide. This one has some masking tape. I believe this is for checking your mirrors. I'm not entirely sure. This did not come with the original P2, but I'm pretty sure this is for checking your mirrors. And then in here we have our exhaust tube and clamp. You are using a laser, so you will need your tube and your clamp in order to vent out of a window or using the air filter. I'm personally going to be using their brand new air filter, and the reason for that is because it's really good. It's not quiet, but it pulls away so much smoke and filters out the air that there is virtually no stink whatsoever. I forgot to mention about the antifreeze. It does come with antifreeze, so you don't have to go and buy that. The only thing you do have to buy is the purified water. We have a power cord, a couple tools, the USB cord. You don't technically need this after the very first time you set up your Xtool. You can do everything via Wi-Fi if you wanted to, but when you first set up your Xtool, you are going to need to plug this into your computer. And then we have your lock keys. These are really important and a great safety feature. So if you have little kids around that, you know, like to touch things, if you take your lock out of the back of your Xtool, it will not turn on. So these are really nice for if you wanted to make sure your Xtool is not able to be ran without you being around. And the last thing that's in here looks like it's the funnel. This is what we're going to use to fill up our laser tube.
Now here's the deal. When it comes to the setup process with the Xtool P2 or any Xtool laser machine, they do a very good job at explaining it in their quick setup guide, but then also online. So I'm not going to bore you with how to set up all of your stuff. There is going to be some like screws that you're going to have to take out and so forth. Just follow the guide that Xtool gives you because it'll be a lot easier to understand than me trying to explain it to you via video. It doesn't take that long to set up your Xtool P2 or any Xtool for that matter. It's just you have to make sure and take out all the screws and stuff like that. The reason why they have these like type of screws and brackets and things is just so for you to be able to transport it or ship it. You want to make sure that your laser heads, mirrors, and all that jazz stay in place and don't break during ship it.
So the P2 and the P2S both comes with these bed slats, and you can readjust them and move them around if you needed. However, I have the honeycomb tray that fits inside the P2 and the P2S, so I just took out my slats altogether, and I'm just going to put in my honeycomb tray. I like to use the honeycomb tray over the slats when I'm cutting my acrylic.
Okay, before we get into the most stressful part about setting up your Xtool P2 or your P2S, which is adding in the antifreeze and the water, I wanted to go over some of the key differences between the two. To be honest with you, they're all going to be like internal things. You're probably not even going to notice a difference if you've never owned a laser before. Now, one of the key differences is a stronger exhaust fan and air pump. Essentially, that just means that they're going to, when you're doing your cuts, you're going to have less smoke on your final product, meaning you'll have cleaner cuts. On the Xtool website, they give you like an up to 200% more. It says up to. Whether or not that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure. That's just what's listed on the website. The other thing that is an upgrade for the P2S versus on the P2 is you're going to be able to clean your laser easier, your lenses easier, all the fans, all of that's going to be easier to clean. They've made it to be where it's easier to maintain. I have to be fully transparent with you that I am not a very good laser owner when it comes to my maintaining my machines. I don't do a very good job maintaining them. I clean my machines maybe once a year. I don't generally cut or engrave things that make and create a lot of soot. So if you are using MDF wood for your laser, you're probably going to have to clean it a lot more than somebody like me that doesn't use materials that create a lot of dust and such. But I just want you to know that I am not very a good laser owner, but the Xtool P2S does have an easier maintenance thing. A lot more of their lenses and stuff are readily available versus the P2. But again, I only clean my P2 once a year, so just saying. The other thing is a new feature is 3D cylinder engraving and batch processing. I don't think I've ever batch processed anything, so I'm not entirely sure what that improvement is. 3D cylinder engraving is just like you're gonna have better engraving all the way around. I don't ever use that feature for the P2, so I wouldn't know if this is going to be better or worse than the P2S. And then the final thing that they say is an upgrade with the P2S is faster engraving speeds. Now, I can tell you the wattage of your P2 versus the P2S is the exact same. So I'm not entirely sure why or how they say you have faster X-axis engraving speeds because the wattage is just the same. I will tell you, I have used this machine now since that I've taken it out of the box and I've used it enough. And I haven't noticed that big of a difference. That's just for me. I'm not entirely sure if other people have seen a difference, but for me, I haven't seen much of a difference. Now let's get back to the unboxing part of this. No matter what Xtool P2 you get, whether it's the P2 or the P2S, you are going to have to put that antifreeze in. And it's the most stressful part about the unboxing of it all. Just take a deep breath and follow the directions. It is very nerve-wracking, but I've now unboxed not one, but two Xtool P2s, and I haven't messed up my machines yet. So I have full confidence in you as well that you can do it. It's very simple. You just follow the directions that the manual gives you. Okay, going back to the differences between the Xtool P2 and the P2S, my thought here is like with the brand new air filter, although you can use the brand new air filter with the Xtool P2, it won't automatically Bluetooth connect, so it won't start and stop by yourself. You would have to manually turn it on, turn it off. I actually go through that when I did the unboxing of the air filter. So if you're wanting something more automated, getting the Xtool P2S with the air filter will be more automated. That's if you get the air filter. You don't have to have the air filter if you have the window. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other thing when it comes to the Xtool P2 with the P2S, I kind of like to think of it as if we are talking about brand new phones. Apple comes out with a whole new phone every single year, right? And with every single year, there's a new phone that comes out. There's improvements to that new phone, right? Like something on the inside, a new chip, whether that be a better camera, whatever, right? It's something new. So here's my thought process on the Xtool P2 versus the P2S. I think that if you were on a budget and you just wanted to get yourself a CO2 laser, that you could just get the Xtool P2. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. Definitely does its justice and does what it needs to do. But if you're somebody that needs brand new technology all the time, like getting a new phone every single year, then you're probably going to want to pick up the Xtool P2S because it is brand new technology. There isn't a whole lot of differences between the Xtool P2 and the P2S. But again, if you're looking for newer technology, you're going to want to get the P2S. But if you're asking me and if you're saying, well, I only have a certain amount of budget, get the Xtool P2 because essentially the upgrades that they have given you with the P2S, for me personally, I don't see the price justification between the two, but I'm also not somebody who has to have a brand new phone every single year. My phone is like 5 years old and it does me justice. You know what I mean? After you get done doing the antifreeze, what you have to do is turn on your Xtool and then go over to the Xtool programming. It's really simple and really easy. All you have to do is turn it on, make sure it's plugged in. You have to plug in your Xtool with your computer for the very first time. When that's plugged in, you turn it on and it will automatically connect. At that point in time, what you want to do is do any type of software updates or firmware updates on the machine. Then you hook it up via Wi-Fi. After you get that done the very first time, then you no longer have to use the cord to put your machine in. If you didn't want to, you could do it all via Wi-Fi. If you've never owned an Xtool laser machine, what I strongly suggest you doing first is going over to the Xtool website and downloading their software because that is actually free to use. So you can get familiar with the software before actually purchasing any type of laser. That being said, the Xtool software is actually the easiest software that I've ever used while owning another type of laser. I've owned many different types of lasers. The Xtool software is the easiest one to use. So just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of how to use the Xtool software, the Xtool P2 and also the P2S have cameras on their lasers. So all you have to do is just press a little button and it'll activate the camera that's on the inside of your laser bed. That way that you can upload your SVG files and put them onto the material that you're going to be using. I have a ton of Xtool related videos on my channel here on YouTube. You're going to want to check those out if you want to know more about creating your own SVG files and how to actually use your laser machines properly. But this is just a little inside look as to what the software looks like. Also, I'm going to cut some wood and acrylic because I just want you to know that this laser, although I love it because it cuts acrylic and I would consider myself to be an acrylic laser artist, it also cuts a bunch of different things like wood.
All right, I've played with this machine for like a whopping 12 minutes and I love it. But honestly, I loved the first Xtool P2, so of course I was gonna love the Xtool P2S. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to create and I'll see you next time.